How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Exploring the Blockchain. Today we're joined by George Tsiolis, and we're going to talk DAOs, NFTs, and it's going to be a great and exciting episode. George, can you tell us a little bit about what brought you into the space?
Oh, yeah, okay. First, thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here. What brought me into this space? I mean, that question could be a very long answer or a very short answer. We'll start with the short one, and then I think we'll probably get into the rest in a little bit. What brought me into the space is I wanted to make money. That was the primary motivation. I took a gap year after I graduated high school in 2020. I didn't want to start college in COVID online stuff, so decided to take a gap year and then said, okay, well, I got to make the most of my time here, and decided to look at crypto and then never looked back.
Great.
I mean, I can go.
Tell us the full story. We want to hear
So
it.
you want, all right. Okay, well, so then that's the start. Started with Bitcoin in a book called the Bitcoin Standard. If you're at all familiar with Bitcoin maximalists and Bitcoin maximalism, you'll know that that's like their Bible. So I was a Bitcoin maximalist for a while, and I believe Bitcoin was the only thing you should invest in when it came to crypto. That it was the holy grail, that it was going to fix the world, and on some level, I still believe that for sure. But that's where I started. And then I quickly realized that I wasn't going to get rich putting my savings into Bitcoin. And so I needed to look into other areas and other things. That's when a few things happened. One, Beeple and his Everydays sold for 69 million. I don't know if you guys remember that. And then NBA Top Shot was at its peak. So it was coming down, but it was close towards its peak. And I realized that NFTs were a lot more approachable, a lot easier to understand, and probably a lot more money in it right now due to volatility, due to new things happening. It's not like Bitcoin where there's no innovation on top of it, right? Bitcoin exists and that's it. There's nothing else to be made. It's in Bitcoin or nothing. Whereas in NFTs, there are an infinite number of projects I realized that could potentially be valuable.
My bad.
No, you're good. Just cut that. So I realized in NFTs there were an infinite number of projects that could be valuable. And so that's where I decided to spend most of my time. Spent probably the better part of every day researching, learning, listening to as much NFT content as possible. Became, at the time, what was probably an expert because of how few people were actually looking at the space. Was involved in it day to day, fell in love with it, fell down the rabbit hole, and then started my first NFT buying on a platform called SoRare. So that's like a soccer trading platform. I started there because I was mad I missed NBA Top Shot and was emotional and said, okay, well, what's something similar? So SoRare was the most obvious choice for me coming from a really big soccer background. Bought some cards there. That was cool, experimentation, whatever, but the platform wasn't so good for making money. It was designed for playing and having a good time playing, which is actually good. You don't see that a lot in NFTs or crypto, but wasn't what I was looking for at the time. And then on my timeline, everybody started freaking out about these apes, these monkeys, these bored apes. And I looked into them. I liked the art. I read the white paper or whatever they had at the time. I guess it was just their website. And it lined up with a lot of the things that I had been reading, I was thinking was going to happen in the space in terms of digital identity. And so sold my 2 SoRare cards and put it all into a Bored Ape 2 days after they had minted out, and held that until February of 2022, sold it, and a lot of stuff happening between buying the Bored Ape and today, but that's probably the rabbit hole in a nutshell that I fell down.
Can you give us a quick estimate of how much it was when you bought it for and how much it was in February 22?
Sure. Yeah, I bought the ape for around $1,000 and sold it for around $400,000.
I'd say that's a pretty good return.
yeah, it was good. It was definitely a big hit, that's for sure.
Yeah, I saw your OpenSea account doing my digging, and I was like, "There's no ape here," and I'm like, "You must have sold it."
No, yeah, I did. I sold it. I sold it as soon as Russia invaded Ukraine, actually. And
I see the correlation.
The reason being not because I had any crystal ball or that, I thought, I'm worried about what this is going to do to the economy, which I was. But for me, it got to the point where I had 99.99% of my net worth tied up in one asset.
Right.
And then I was becoming stressed out about, okay, what's going to happen here? It's not like I can sell some of the ape and then keep the rest. It's not like I can scale out. So I just said, you know what? I've got a big win. Let me just take my money and go instead of trying to ride this thing to $1 billion or whatever. Yeah. So I was happy with the decision, even though I did miss out on an ape coin drop, some other deeds, just a bunch of stuff that they airdrop. But not once did I ever say, man, I wish I didn't sell. I'm much happier that I sold now. And honestly, finances are number one, but number two, I don't even align with the Bored Apes or the Bored Ape community anymore. I'm just totally not with that culture and what they kind of are about. And so I'm happy that I'm out because that's not a community of people that I think I align with when it comes to Web3 values.
What do they value?
A lot of their time is focused on the newest meta, the newest trade, the newest degen mint, there are a lot of people in NFTs like that who are just like traders and trade the profile pictures. Personally, I think that's a really big waste of time. And I think most of those people are grifters and just like are not in the space anymore today. And they probably didn't learn or know too much about the space in general. They're the people that believe, there is a market of profile pictures and this is how you trade the market and you use XYZ metrics to trade it. It's like, no, there's no market. There's no such thing as a market. It's all speculation. All of this is going to zero. You can pretend like it's a market and you can pretend to trade it, but in reality, you're lying to yourself because there's nothing legitimate about this profile picture space right now. And I can say that confidently as somebody who's watched it grow literally from day one to where it is today. And a lot of those Bored Apes are still stuck on that wave that they think like these profile pictures are, that these profile pictures are legitimate projects with futures that, have actual business models. There are no business models. And SudoSwap actually exposed that, which is what they did was they removed royalties from secondary sales on these collections. And a lot of projects were freaking out because they relied on the secondary sales for money to continue to build the project. But if your business model can be removed by market efficiency, because that's what it is. It's just the market saying, how can we get more money? What's the most efficient for us? Okay, let's remove royalties. If that's how easily your business model can be removed, it's probably not a very good business. And we haven't seen any of the profile picture projects actually develop into good businesses at all. And the Bored Ape community and a lot of those other PFP people will try and tell you otherwise, but that's just because that's where their money is.
So the whole PFP thing is speculation, and especially right now, like given today's market and what's going on right now, does that mean NFTs are primarily for actual artists? Is it to represent ownership? What do you actually believe NFTs mean and are meant for? If you think the whole profile thing is speculation, which I totally agree with.
Yeah, I think it's been pretty disappointing being in NFTs for a year and almost 2 years coming up, which is even crazy just to think about because time flies. What's been disappointing is that in those 2 years, it does seem as though the number of use cases that we've seen so far with, using the technology is very low. There aren't very many at all. It does seem like we have yet to pass the collectibles threshold.